Okay, so we'll go on to also check out for open pipes. We had already dealt with closed pipes in the previous video. See link in the description below. So for open pipes, remember we said from that video that an open pipe is a pipe that is open at both ends. So here's the pipe. It's open there and it's open here. So it's open. And we said that another attribute of an open pipe, one of the things that we see and we know, oh, this is an open pipe, is that we'll always have the antinode. We'll have an antinode here and we will also have an antinode here. Okay, so if we are going to have an antinode and we are looking at this wave, if we look at this wave, and we are going to have an antinode, if at both ends, it means we can only have this and this at the least, as the least configuration. Okay, we can only have from this point to this point as the least configuration if we must have an antinode at both ends. So here we have an antinode, and here we also have an antinode. Here is a node, such that if we fit it into this place, we are going to have something that looks exactly like that, as the basics. Okay, so here's an antinode, that's an antinode, and of course here is a node. Okay, so now when we look at the length, this is the length of the pipe. This is the length of the pipe. So what exactly is the length of the pipe in terms of the wavelength? Well, from this point to this point is lambda over 4, because from this point to this point is half wavelength, and from that point to this point is also half wavelength. So therefore, from this point to this point is quarter wavelength, and from here to here we also have a quarter wavelength. So that is to say, from here down to this point is a quarter wavelength, and from this point down to this point is also a quarter wavelength. The implication of that is that L, which is the length of the pipe, the length of pipe L is going to be equal to quarter lambda plus quarter lambda, and that is equal to lambda over 2. So basically, at the lowest configuration of the vibration, the lowest configuration, the basic, or what you may call fundamental configuration of the vibration in an open pipe, we'll have that the length L is equal to lambda over 2. Therefore, this implies that lambda is equal to 2L. And remember that we are fixing all of this into the equation that F is equal to velocity over wavelength. Okay, F is equal to velocity over wavelength. So we can as well say that for open pipes, that the fundamental frequency F0 for open pipe is going to be equal to V over 2L. V over 2L, and as usual, that stays in a box, and I will also write that down somewhere here, that F0 is equal to V over 2L. Okay, just in case. Now, having done that, the next thing that we want to do is, what are other higher configurations? What do we make of other higher configurations? Okay, what other configuration can I have? If I get back to this diagram that I have here, I can as well add something like this, because I always want the ends to be antinode. So I am now taking from this point up until I get to this point. That will be the next thing we will have in our configuration. And I expect the diagram to look like this. So I am starting with an antinode, then I'm going to have that, and I'm also ending with an antinode. Remember, for an open pipe, you are always going to start with an antinode and you're going to end with an antinode. Whereas if you're dealing with a closed pipe, you're going to start with an antinode and you're going to end with a node. And you are starting at the open side of the closed pipe and you're ending with an antinode at the closed side of the closed pipe. Okay, so we can break these things down from here to here. We already know is quarter of a lambda. From this point down to this point, we know is that is half lambda. And we also know that from this point down to this point is also quarter lambda. So it means that the length of the pipe L is equal to lambda over 4 plus lambda over 2 plus lambda over 4. And it means that L is equal to lambda. Wow. So if we put it into this, not that now, if we put it into this, okay, if we put it into this, maybe I should use a green. Let me use a green. If we put it into the equation in the green box, if we put it into the equation in the green box, we'll have that F is equal to V over lambda. F is equal to V over lambda. And it's as though nothing changed. It's as though nothing changed. Okay, in terms of lambda, it's going to be that V is F is equal to V over L. Okay, yes, because we are giving our values in terms of L. So it means that for the higher configurations, the frequency not of F naught now, the frequency F is going to be equal to V over L, and that also deserves to be in a red box. Okay, so we'll put that in a red box. And we do another one. If we also go back to this diagram, then we can also add another one here, because we always want them to both end with an antinode. So here is an antinode and that is an antinode. We fit the whole of this in a pipe. And if we do that, we are going to have something that looks like this. So I am starting with an antinode, then an antinode, right? Yeah. So our pipe has to be longer because the wave is now longer. Okay. Yeah. So we'll complete that. We'll also have this, that, and that. Okay. So from here down to this point is lambda over 4. Then from that point to this point is lambda over 2. And we have another lambda over 2. And of course, we have lambda over 4. So that means that the whole length, the length of the pipe L will be equal to lambda over 4 plus lambda over 2 plus lambda over 2 plus lambda over 4. Lambda over 2 plus lambda over 2 is equal to lambda plus lambda over 4 plus lambda over 4 is equal to lambda over 2. And we'll add up the whole of this. We'll have that L will be equal to 3 lambda over 2. And in terms of lambda, we'll have that 3 lambda is equal to 2L. Therefore, the wavelength in terms of L is going to be equal to 2L divided by 3. And if we substitute that into what we have in the green box, we are going to have that F is equal to V over 2L over 3, and that will become V over 3V over 2L. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the next thing we have in this order will become 3V over 2L, and that also deserves to be in a box. So we have F naught to be equal to V over 2L, and as usual, we want to call that the fundamental. Now remember, this is exclusively for open pipes. This is exclusively open pipes. So we'll have fundamental frequency, and of course, it is also called the first harmonic. And for the next, we'll have V over L, and this is called the second harmonic or the first overtone. And then F3 or F2 rather, we will have 3V over 2L, and that is our third harmonic or our second overtone. Now look carefully. Let's look carefully. F naught is equal to V over 2L. So F naught is equal to V over 2L. If I multiply F naught by 2, I am getting V over L. And V over L happens to be F1. So what does that say? That is simply saying that F1 is equal to 2F naught. That is, if I multiply the fundamental frequency by 2, I am going to get F1. And of course, if you also look at F2, because V over 2L that we see here, the V over 2L that we see here is actually equal to F naught. Therefore, F2 is also equal to 3F naught. And if we continue in that order, we will have that F3 is equal to 4F naught, and we will have that F4 is going to be equal to 5F naught, and so on and so forth. Okay, in summary, we have closed pipe, we have open pipe. Okay, so we have fundamental frequency for a closed pipe to be equal to V over 4L, and we'll have the fundamental frequency F naught for an open pipe to be V over 2L. And we have that the higher configurations for a closed pipe will be the odd number multiples, the odd number. We only have odd number fundamentals, odd number harmonics present for a closed pipe. So immediately after the fundamental for a closed pipe, the next thing we're going to have is 3F naught. Then from 3F naught, we will have 5F naught. Then from 5F naught, we'll have 7F naught. From 7F naught, we'll have 9F naught, and so on and so forth. Whereas when it is open pipe after the fundamental, the next thing we're going to have is 2 F naughts, and then the next thing we'll have is 3 F naughts. Just as we keep going, we'll have 4 F naught, 5 F naught. So you see, for closed pipe, we only have odd number multiples of the fundamental frequency, whereas for open pipe, we have both odd and even number multiples of the fundamental frequency. So this is making it the third difference that we're having between a closed pipe and an open pipe. The first difference, we said that a closed pipe is a pipe that has one side closed, and an open pipe is a pipe that has both sides, both ends open. Okay, and then we also pointed out the fact that for a closed pipe, we begin with an antinode and we end with a node, and the point where we end with a node is the point where we have is the closed end, whereas for open pipe we start with an antinode and we end also with an antinode. And here we also have that for closed pipe that the multiples we have for the fundamental for higher harmonics actually odd number multiples, whereas for open pipe we always have all the numbers. Okay, in our next video we're going to try to solve some examples on these, and then we can move on to other areas that you may want us to talk about. If there are other areas that you really want us to deal with in physics, areas that you're having issues with, please do not forget to leave them in the comment section below.